Thank you to everyone who showed up at the Jockey Club. I had a good time. I played bagpipes till like 1 in the morning. Anyways, let's start the video. Let's try something new. For this video, I'm gonna assume you know how both versions of Hunter's Mark works. They're very similar, it's on the screen. Not only is the 2024 Hunter's Mark slightly different from the old version, but the meta around it has changed as well because Crossbow Expert and Sharpshooter are nerfed. Not only are they gated behind a level 4 prerequisite, but power attacks are removed from the game. That makes Hunter's Mark more appealing than what we had before. In the past, we had a problem where if you had a bonus action attack from Crossbow Expert, setting up Hunter's Mark can be a DPR loss if the enemy dies early, which is common when the party focus fires or someone uses Nova, and Nova is almost always used on the first round, just like Hunter's Mark. When the enemy dies early, you need to use a bonus action to move the mark. The more you do that, the more DPR you lose because you could have just bonus action attacked normally instead. If you end up in the negative numbers, then the spell slot you used was a complete waste. It's possible to catch up to lost DPR, but it's going to take multiple rounds and most fights last 4 rounds. So it can be really rough. This problem is mostly gone though because those 2 feats are super nerfed. Hunter's Mark even has a separate pool of resources now and you can spend spell slots to use even more if you want. Hunter's Mark is looking pretty shiny now. They sure polished this up. What the heck, Cobalt? Then why are you saying this is a bigger trap than ever? It's shiny! Shiny good! Because of the way the Ranger progression guides you and how the D&D community obsesses over this spell. Me personally, I'm obsessed with Magic Spoon. This is grain-free cereal. Their cereal has 13 to 14 grams of protein, 0 sugar, and 4 to 5 grams of net carb in each serving. Perfect for any diet and great to kickstart the day. My personal favorite is the blueberry muffin. As for the treats, which I basically devoured immediately, they have 11 to 12 grams of protein, 1 gram of sugar, and 1 to 2 grams of net carbs. That's enough fuel to run around the house 10 times and play 4 hours of D&D without needing snacks. But wait! There's more! There's granola now, which is brand new. Last time I covered them, they didn't have that. 13 grams of protein and 0 sugar in delicious flavors like honey almond and peanut butter. Yummy! There's tons of really good stuff here. I highly recommend Magic Spoon. Click the link below or scan the QR code on the screen to grab some treats, cereal, or granola today. Be sure to use the promo code PACKTACTICS at the checkout to get a $5 discount off any order. Or use magicspoon.com/PACKTACTICS. By the way, Magic Spoon is so confident in their product, it's backed with a 100% happiness guarantee. So if you don't like it for some reason, they'll refund your money, no questions asked. Back to the video. Welcome to Pack Tactics, where people who think Ranger is bad are the ones that only cast Hunter's Mark. This is true, by the way. Like, if you ask them how they build or play their Ranger, you'll notice they're obsessed with that silly, dinky little 1d6 extra damage per hit spell. It's absurd. They're just ruining their experience with just using one spell. Experiment with different spells. What are you doing? There's more to the Ranger than just that. But Kubal, do you think Ranger bad because of the nerfs? Yeah, true. But I would rather have a Ranger in my party than any of the Marshals because they contribute more to the party. They have a similar spell list to a Druid, and Druid has the second best spell list in the game. And unlike a Wizard spell list, Druid and Ranger are more front-loaded in power with their spells. Like, for example, a lot of their best spells don't require a saving throw. They just happen. So that means you don't need to invest into wisdom that much. But that front-loadedness is not by very much. In the eyes of a full caster, that's true. But for a half caster, it's colossal. At level 5, the Ranger has extra attack and second level spells like Spike Growth, which is a no-save difficult terrain plus automatic damage when the enemy walks through it. This spell doesn't care about the Ranger's wisdom at all. It's an amazing control spell. It's great for control controlling movement and comboing with other casters. Both of you can totally lay down double control. An Eldritch Knight can't contribute like that at this level. They don't even have second level spells, and when they do, they get web, and that's a save. Sure, the auto difficult terrain is there, but it's just not as good. And 2 levels later, the Ranger has 3rd level spells. Now, it's possible to get 2nd level spells early with multi-class, but they don't have the extra attack then at level 5. That's really important. Then there's Paladin. The big team contribution there is Aid, which Rangers also get, and Prayer of Healing and Upcast Bless. And sadly, Bless is not as good as it used to be because power attacks are gone. It's still a good spell, but people are going to cast it less, especially on a Paladin. I expect it to be cast in like a dragon fight or something. Artificer, that's a completely different story. But Ranger has Aid, Pass Without Trace, and Spike Growth, which doesn't sound like a lot, but they're very powerful with a team-focused party. And they have extra attack right at level 5 too. Wait, Kobold! What does this have to do with Hunter's Mark? These spells that I named are different tools, and Hunter's Mark is also a tool. Hunter's Mark is used to kill single targets. You focus fire on the enemy you marked. You don't use Aid for that, obviously. When do you use Aid in combat? When there are multiple friends unconscious, you cast Aid on them to get them back onto their feet. This is a better healing word, really. There's also rest casting too, but I don't want to bring that up right now. So that's how it works. As for Pass Without Trace, it's for the party to avoid trouble or surprise the encounter so the party has advantage on their initiative, while the enemy has disadvantage. Going first is a big deal for your party so they can do things to the enemy like mass shutdown or kill someone before they get a turn. You use the appropriate tool for the job. It's pretty straightforward and it's just fun. It requires more thinking too, which is something you should be doing while playing the game. Like, look guys, where do I place my Spike Growth? We're surrounded. That's right, we place it at our feet so they run at us and take Spike Growth damage. What if the enemy has ranged attacks? Enemy ranged attacks are weaker than their melee attacks. And also, your party can just lay prone so they have disadvantage. Don't worry, Spike Growth only hurts you when you travel through it. If you lay in it, you're fine. If you're a Gloomstalker, you can cast Rope Trick the next round and have the party go in. Nothing can pass through the barrier, which forces the enemy to run into Spike Growth. I know that's a lot of 2nd level spells for one encounter, but if it's needed, it's needed. Oh my god, you made a castle! Isn't that fun? There's so many powerful and fun tools that it's not worth upcasting Hunter's Mark at all. And eventually, as you progress, you get more resources like 3rd level and 4th level spells. And these are usually even stronger. Plant Growth, for example, stacks with a difficult terrain spell because Plant Growth isn't difficult terrain. It's something completely different which will force the enemy to move to a crawl. I think you guys get the point. The higher you get in level, the less you're casting Hunter's Mark. You get better things to cast. But Kobold, everyone knows higher level spells are better than 1st level spells. Then why are people obsessed with Hunter's Mark then? They should be agreeing with me. If they actually believe higher level spells are better, then they shouldn't care that much for the spell like they do. People have fought with me for many years about this. Wizards of the Coast knows about the obsession. Why do you think Relentless Hunter at level 13 is a feature? The Ranger has 4th level spells at this level. That's Conjure Woodland Beings right there. Hunter's Mark sucks at this level, and that's apparently a hot take? What? It doesn't make any sense. But it's still an appropriate tool for when it's needed. Yeah, single targets and focus fire, or you're just out of spell slots. There's a time and a place, sure. But that doesn't mean it's good. This spell has scaled badly for multiple reasons. You know this sleep spell? That is a really good spell on a wizard, for example. But that spell scales badly and is bad at level 13. When do you cast sleep? When you're level 13 with 20/24 sleep. It's when you're out of high-level spell slots. Obviously. There's a time and a place. Hunter's Mark is a trap because everyone is tricked into thinking it's always relevant, and this feature helps with that. That's god-awful game design. Good game design should encourage you to try new things as you progress. That's why spell progression is brilliant. I don't believe this is fully Wizards of the Coast fault. They did a public playtest for this, and they went for what the customer wanted. If I dig back to the Ranger playtest feedback video, I'm like 95% sure Jeremy will point at this specific feature and say it got an approval rating of 70%, because I remember this feature being exactly the same. If it got 45%, they would have changed it. And don't get me started on the capstone. So when does Hunter's Mark become a trap then? When you spend a spell slot on Hunter's Mark. Wait, what? Favored enemy is a separate pool of resources. Hunter's Mark should just come from there. It's more than enough ammunition, especially if you have 2 encounter days. How much Hunter's Mark do you really need, guys? You can concentrate on it for an hour. If you're in a dungeon, that can last the entire dungeon crawl theoretically. You just keep moving it to the next target. If you're worried about time, loot after the dungeon crawl. The first level spells is your toolbox for different things, and a few of them are stronger than Hunter's Mark. For example, casting Goodberry and eating them out of combat saves the party more HP than Hunter's Mark does damage to a creature. If you cast Goodberry, you always get 10 berries. If you eat all of them out of combat, that's 10 HP. Hunter's Mark does an average of 3.5 because it uses a d6. If we factor in chance to hit, like 65%, which is common, we'll get 2.27 average damage. We need to make 5 successful swings to catch up with Goodberry. And by the way, no, you don't get a stomach ache from the spell, because the spell says the berry provides enough nourishment to sustain the creature for a day. Enough. Cure wounds, same deal, but I like Goodberries more. Entangle, that's a control spell and the ground is difficult terrain. I think Entangle is now the best first level control spell in the game, and that's very strong on a ranger at tier 1, if they have decent wisdom or better. Jump, that's great mobility to get away, to get behind cover, to get on top of things, blah 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 blah. Fog Cloud, that's mass disengage, great against pack tactics, which is super deadly at tier 1, and blah blah blah. And even like Speak with Animals can potentially be stronger than Hunter's Mark, because you can convince the wolves to not attack you, or the T-Rex to not attack you. I know that's very specific, but you get the point. Here is what I think. Hunter's Mark is not a trap to use in tier 1 and 2. It's a trap when you're level 11 or when you use any spell slot for it. You should use different tools to enhance your gameplay experience. Not only will you be more powerful and effective, you will also have more fun with the class, and that will make Ranger good. End of video. Sorry for the late video, I'm super sick. I blame America, but anyways, the Kobold and Gator Dice are now on Kickstarter rather than BackerKit. Link in the description. Anyways, thank you for watching. Bye bye!